Isang masayang pagbati na may ngiti sa aking mga labi. Naghahanap ba kayo ng makakatuwang sa pagre-review ng inyong anak? Meron yan sa DepEd. Ang ETUlay online tutorial ay libre at handog ng ating kagawaran sa pangunguna ng OUA ICTS EdTech. Ito ay isang proyektong makatutulong sa mga mag-aaral, katuwang ang mga magulang o kasama sa kani-kanilang tahanan para masagutan at maunawaan ang mga modules. Hangad din ng programang ETUlay ang matulungan ang ating mga guro sa kanilang mga blended learning classes. Ang ating ETUlay ay mula kinder hanggang senior high school. Bukod sa academics, meron din tayong mga special programs gaya ng All is Wellness, Reading and Math Remediation, Storytelling, Mommy Tech Talks, Classes sa Gramatika, Speech Class, Financial Literacy, at marami pang iba. Pinalawig din ng ETUlay ang ating Alive program para sa mga mag-aaral mula grade 1 hanggang grade 3. Gayon din ay mayroon tayong ALS program at SPED tutorials na makasisigurong makakamit ng lahat ang inclusive education. May SPED hotline na rin para sa inyong mga katanungan patungkol sa special education. Kaya, subaybayan mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, mula 9:00 ng umaga hanggang 7:00 ng gabi ang ating ETUlay. Sa ating pagtutulungan, maiaangat natin ang bawat isa. Ating itutulay ang pagkatuto upang di mapigil ang pag-aaral ng kabataang Pilipino. Itulay natin ito, sulong edukalidad.
Mabuhay! Isang mapagpalang araw sa ating lahat. Ako ang inyong lingkod, Tutor Madge. Welcome sa ating ETUlay, ang ating libreng online tutorial na hatid ng ating kagawaran ng edukasyon, ICTS EdTech. Ang programang ito ay inaasahang makatutulong at maging karagdagang kaalaman sa mga mag-aaral mula kinder hanggang senior high school, ALS, Alive, at SPED learners. Bukod sa pagsagot ng mga modules, ang ETUlay ay may mga special programs din na siguradong aabangan ninyo araw-araw. Katuwang ang ating mga minamahal na mga magulang at guro ay maitutulay natin ang pagkatuto. Kaya, ihanda na ang inyong module, lapis, papel o kwaderno. Ihanda rin ang isip, mata at tenga sa isa na namang makabuluhang aralin. Tayo nang matuto kasama ang inyong volunteer online tutor sa oras na ito.
Yes, hello, good afternoon mga grade 10 learners mula sa Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Welcome sa ating Mathalina Day Friday. Kasama of course ang inyong Math 10 coaches na mga trio. Ito mga trio Math Bay Guapos daw yan. So Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, standby lang tayo dyan at matututo tayo ng panibagong lessons natin for this quarter 2 week 1 para sa Mathematics 10. Ako po ang inyong tutor of Hill from SDO Bataan. Tutor King.
Ayan, so ako naman si Tutor King from SDO Tarlac Province.
Bati ka muna sa ating mga grade 10 learners dahil ito ang unang salang mo na dire-diretso ka na talaga, di ba?
Ito yung first time. So binabati natin si Kiana watching from Antipolo National High School and Rainiel Manabat. Sir, I'm here again. Welcome ka dito, Rainiel Manabat. And Gio Tugano. Good afternoon, Gio Carlo T. Tugano from Culiat High School. At sino pa, Tutor?
Ayan, nadagdagan tayo ng ating mga learners. Meron din tayong galing from
Gina Medina.
Yes, that is correct.
Yes,
no? Nadagdagan din tayo ng ating mga learners from Antipolo National High School. Nandyan din sila. From Camarines Sur din yan. So, sa SDO ni Tutor Rowell. At sa lahat ng mga naghahanap kay Tutor Rowell ngayong hapon na to, ay meron lang siyang mahalagang pinuntahan. Kaya naman kami muna ni Tutor King ang inyong makakasama for this afternoon. Pero bago tayo magsimula, wag pong kalimutan na i-like at i-share ang ating live streaming ngayon sa ating mga DepEd Facebook pages, ang DepEd TV, DepEd Educational Technology Unit, DepEd tayo at sa ating YouTube channel, ang DepEd TV Official at Educational Technology Unit para siguradong mas marami pang great and learners ang ating mga kasama this afternoon. Ayan. So, sabi ko nga kanina mga grade 10, our topic or nandito na tayo ngayon sa ating quarter 2 week 1 kung saan pag-uusapan natin kasama nyo kaming dalawa ni Tutor King ang tungkol sa graphs of polynomial functions. Ayan. So, bago ang lahat, pasalamatan muna natin Tutor King ang alin? Sino ba?
Ayan, pasalamatan natin ang DepEd Cordillera Administrative Region sa kanilang module kasi sa kanila natin pinag-base ang lesson natin for today.
Yes, so sa ating references para sa module na ginamit natin ngayong hapon na to. So batiin lang natin sila Kerubin Gabriel Villamor from Novaliches High School, STO, Quezon City, at sila Joshua Alden from Culiat High School. So sa lahat ng mga hindi pa nag-share dyan, i-share nyo na ang ating live streaming sa lahat ng inyong mga classmates, sa mga group chats ninyo, para naman sigurado mas marami pa tayong mga grade 10 na makakasama this afternoon. Binabati rin natin sila Gerald Coltibo, isa sa mga mathletes natin yan last quarter from Ocampo National High School. Ayan. So now, let us start our discussion for this afternoon, no? So ang objectives natin, Tutor King, ngayong hapon na ito ay tungkol sa, we are about to describe and interpret the graphs of polynomial functions. And also, we will be able to graph the polynomial functions, the given polynomial functions. At para mas mapag-aralan nating mabuti yan, ay kailangan magkaroon muna tayo ng warm math exercise, di ba? Kasama ang iyong mga tatlong, the math trio guapitos. Trio guapitos. Okay, so let us have the review muna. Tutor King, ano ang ating unang tanong sa ating review?
Ang gagawin natin sa review is we will just identify whether if it is a polynomial function or hindi ba. Kapag polynomial function ito, i-type ninyo sa comment section na F. Kapag hindi naman polynomial function or not a polynomial function, you will type NF.
Ayun.
So,
okay, so
number
malinaw
1.
yan, ha?
Yes, malinaw na malinaw. In number 1, we have P of X is equal to X plus X squared plus X cubed. Sa tingin ninyo, math learners, is it a polynomial function or not?
Okay, so F or NF.
F.
At habang naghihintay tayo sa kailang kasagutan for 5 seconds, batiin lang din natin sila Sharon Kyle Lacson at ang kanyang advisor, Ma'am SB Ventura, na last year pa talaga nakatutok na sa atin yan sa online tutorial. At sila Jan Maverick Ocde from Culiat High School. Di ba? Ang daming galing sa Culiat High School. Si Riniel Manabat de Vera pala. Hello, good afternoon, anak. So, is it a function or not a function? Tingnan natin ang sagot natin, Tutor King. This is a
Function.
F. Letter F.
Ayan. Tama si Rain Nation at saka si Rayan Edras. Ayan. Kabisado talaga na yung function and not a function.
Okay, let's have now the second given example of our review. We have P of X is equal to X to the 4th power minus 1 over 8X. O yan, so habang hinihintay natin, Tutor King, basa-basa muna tayo ulit ng ating mga...
Great. So, sabi ni Johan, binabati natin si Johan Dump. And good afternoon, Robert P. Canillas, 10 Palma, Culiat High School. Marami talaga taga Culiat High School na nakatutok sa ating live. And we have...
At Giuseppe High School, Hezekiah Magalona. So, ano nga ba sagot natin dito, Tutor King?
Ang sagot natin dito ay it is function. A function pa din. Function pa rin siya.
Tama sila Leonard Paul Alvarez, Louis Vince Yanica, sila Gio, Rexon, Tania, Ryan Ninya, Kiana, and Rehan. Diba? Ang husay na ating mga grade 10 learners. Now, let's have our item number 3. Ano ang ating example, Tutor King?
We have P of X is equal to 3 over X. Is it a function or not a function? F ba or NF?
Sulat lamang F or NF sa ating comment section. At batiin din natin si Alexandra Joyce G. Pahak from Culiat High School. At ang kanyang advisor din ay si Ma'am S.V. Ventura. Ganun din kila Virgil Paul N. Negrillo. At may mga sagot na nga dito. Sila Ryan Ninya, sila Rasul, sila Rain, sila Riniel. Is this a function or not a function? Ang sagot natin ay...
NF, not a function.
Not a function. Ayun. Now let's have our fourth given item. We have the function of x or f of x is equal to 9 square root of x plus 2x. Isulat lamang kung f o kung function at nf kung hindi siya function. Ayan. So Mary Jane Estrella from Culiat High School din. Daming tiga Culiat High School. In fairness, ha? Mahusay.
Very supportive
Oo,
ang Culiat
tama.
High School.
So the answer is
NF, not a
not
function.
a function. Now let's have another one. Yes, Tutor King.
We have f of x is equal to x raised to the 4 over 2. Ano kaya ito? Is it a function or not a function?
Ayan. So, makikita natin yung mga, minsan kasi may mga trick talaga sa math, no? Parang, nakakita lang ng fraction, parang kinakabahan agad yung mga grade 10 learners natin. Pero, always remember mga grade 10 learners na dapat i-simplify lang natin yung ating given para mas malaman natin kung ano ba yung tamang sagot. So, ito ay function or not a function. This is a function. Diba? Kasi ang exponent nito ay magiging 2 lamang. 4 over 2 is 2. Okay, now let's have another one. P of x is equal to x raised to 1/2 plus 2. Is this a function or not a function? Yan. Maraming mga sumasagot. Armando Shaki, magandang hapon. Dinver Padesyo. Sino pa? Bati ka pa muna, Tutor King, habang naghihintay tayo ng iba pang sagot.
Ayun, daming sumasagot. Sila Gwen, sila Gio, Isaiah, Verhil, and Dinver. Ayan, dami na sumasagot, sir.
Okay, let's have the answer. Answer revealed. This is
NF.
not a function. NF. Yes, hello, Kershi, Arcelia. Now let's have another one.
P of x is equal to 12. Ano kaya ito? Function or not a function? Ayan. Hello din po, Jasmine Fernandez Ponil. Ayan, from Culiat High School din.
Di ba? Puro tiga Culiat High School ang ating ano.
Antonio. Hello din, Antonio.
Si Jillian De La Torre is from Houston View High School eh. Ayan. So may mga sagot na rin yung iba. Merong F, meron ding NF. So let us try to check this given. The answer is F. This is a function, di ba? Kasi may given na siya agad na sagot. Now let's have another one. P of x is equal to 5x plus 1. Okay. Let us check the answer.
John Lloyd Lapore. Ayan, from Culiat High School din. And Rasul Baginald. From Culiat High School din talaga.
Dami, no?
Dami.
Dami Culiat. So what is the answer here, Tutor King?
P of x is equal to P of x is equal to 5x plus 1. It is a function. F siya.
That is correct. So lahat ng mga sumagot ng function, you are all correct. Now let's proceed to our math talks. Ang ating discussion for this afternoon, ang ating main topic, and that is how to graph a polynomial function. However, napansin ko ng konti, Tutor King, na medyo nalilito ang ating mga grade 10 learners how to determine kung yung bang given ay function or not a function. Just to have the review, tandaan natin mga grade 10 learners na kapag meron tayong exponent na negative or meron tayong radical expression sa ating given na polynomial na function, na equation, at meron din tayong mga radical expression sa denominator, basically, yun yung mga not a function natin. Okay? So, yung mga regular natin na function, so kahit na magpalit-palitan niya ng exponent, for example, mas mababa yung nasa unahan at mas mataas yung nasa bandang dulo, as long as walang bina-violate na mga rules katulad ng condition na binanggit ko kanina, it still goes with the function. So, yun tatandaan natin na mga grade 10 learners. Now, our topic is about the graph of polynomial functions. Natatandaan mo ba paano mag-graph, Tutor King? Nung high school ka?
Gumagamit pa tayo nun. Bumibili pa tayo nun. Nung kapanahon na natin ng graphing paper na tagpipiso para lang makapag-graph talaga na eksakto, di ba, Tutor? So,
ako doon sa kapanahunan natin, matanda ko sa Tutor King, di ba? So siguro sa akin, kung piso yung graphing paper sa'yo, siguro mga panahon ko mga 25 centimos ang graphing paper. Ganon katanda eh. Okay mga grade 10 learners, habang nagkukwentuhan lang kami ng konti ni Tutor King para maging chill and relax lang ang ating discussion for this afternoon, kindly observe the given graphs on your monitor. So meron tayong dalawang graphs dyan. Meron tayong isang polynomial function which is P of x is equal to the quantity x plus 3 times the quantity x plus 2 times the quantity x plus 1. At yung second graph naman natin ay P of x is equal to the quantity x plus 2 times the quantity x plus 1 times the quantity x minus 1 times the quantity x minus 2. Ayan, sabi ni Riniel, yes po, using x and y line. That is correct. We have the x-axis and the y-axis. Tama yon. Ngayon, ayan, na-observe na nila yan. Alam ko, Tutor King. Ngayon, ano ang ating pangatlo at pang-apat na graph? Pakibasa nga ang function natin, Tutor King.
Ayan, meron tayong pang dalawang graph. We have P of x is equal to the negative quantity x plus 1, quantity squared, times the quantity of x minus 1, times the quantity of x minus 2 squared. So, ganyan yung graph niya, yung nasa left side. And then, yung nasa right side naman, kung napapansin ninyo, we have P of x is equal to the negative times the quantity of x plus 3 times the quantity of x plus 1 times the quantity of x minus 2 and times the quantity of x minus 4.
Ayan. So, greater na. Observe muna natin ang mga simpleng graph na to. So, we have 4 examples of graphs. So, ngayon ang gagawin natin ay isa-isayin natin kung ano ba yung mga properties or characteristics ng graph na pinakita natin. So, let's have our graph number 1. The function of x or p of x is equal to the quantity x plus 3 times the quantity x plus 2 times the quantity x plus 1. Pwede nating ma-describe ang graph na to using our given table, wherein we have to look for the leading coefficient, whether it is or yung a natin is greater than 0 or less than 0. Ang ating degree ng polynomial, kung ito ba ay even or odd. Ang end behavior of the graph, left tail, kung nagra-rise or nag-fall, at ang end behavior of the graph sa right tail, kung nagra-rise or nag-fall. Later on, papaliwanag natin bakit kailangan makuha muna natin ang leading coefficient at degree of polynomial. But remember that for us to get the leading coefficient, mga great and learners, is kailangan, kailangan yung pinakamataas o yung pinaka-numerical coefficient ng ating degree. So kapag sinabi naman natin degree, yung pinakamataas na exponent ng ating given, yun po ang ating leading coefficient. So in our given, P of x is equal to the quantity x plus 3 times quantity x plus 2 times quantity x plus 1. Ano kaya ang ating leading coefficient, Tutor King? Is it greater than 0 or less than 0?
Ang ating leading coefficient, kapag minultiply natin lahat sila, ayan, we will have our leading coefficient that is greater than 0. Kasi kapag times natin yan, x times x times x, it will become x cubed. And the coefficient of x cubed, it is 1, which is greater than 0.
That is correct. At nabanggit na ni Tutor King, ano nga ba ang degree natin? Is it even or odd?
And our degree, di ba, sinabi ko na, it is x cubed. So, yung degree natin ay cube. And cube, that is 3. So, yung 3 natin, it is odd ba or even? Ayun, odd siya.
Odd number. Yes, may mga sumasagot na rin sa ating mga kasamahan, no? Sa ating mga great and learners. So now let us proceed to our end behavior of the graph, whether the left tail ba rises or falls. Because malalaman natin kung ito ay nag-fall or nagra-rise, depende kung ano ang ating leading coefficient at degree. So yun ang relationship nilang dalawa. Kaya mahalaga na dapat alam natin kung paano kumuha ng leading coefficient at degree. So once the leading coefficient is greater than 0 and the degree of polynomial is odd, the end behavior of the graph under the left tail falls. Samantalang doon sa right tail naman, it rises. Take note of that, mga great and learners. Kapag po ang ating leading coefficient is greater than 0 at ang degree naman ay odd, ang end behavior of the graph sa left tail ay falls at the end behavior of the graph sa right tail ay rises. Hello, Kathleen Santiago from Ramon National High School. At meron na tayong Doña Magdalena Gafood High School. Ayan, na hinintay ko yan kanina, yung school ng Doña Magdalena Gafood. Ayan, next natin, Tutor King.
We have yung second natin example kanina na P of x is equal to quantity x plus 2 times the quantity of x plus 1 times the quantity of x minus 1 times the quantity of x minus 2. So when we multiply them, yung factored form, i-multiply natin yan, gagawin natin standard form, ano kaya yung leading coefficient natin? is it greater than 0 or less than 0? So, ayan.
Okay, let us check daw kung greater than 0 or less than 0. The answer will be
Greater than 0. Ayan. Kasi positive yan. Yung leading coefficient natin is positive. And the
at ang
degree
degree
is
of polynomial is
even. Yan. Kasi kapag minultiply natin silang lahat, yung degree na makukuha natin is yung degree na makukuha natin is 4. And 4 is an even number. Ngayon, ano
So,
naman yung behavior of the graph sa left tail? Is it rises or falls? Ayan. It rises. Yung sa left natin, it rises. Kitang-kita naman sa graph, di ba? Kapag yung leading coefficient natin ay greater than 0 and the degree is even, the left tail, it rises. Pataas siya. And yung behavior naman natin sa right tail, also, it rises. Pataas din siya.
yan. Thank you, Tutor King. No? So, batiin lang muna natin din ang Santa Lucia National High School or Santa Lucia High School. Ay nagpapabati rin sila. Sila Keyboard Cruz naman from Culiat High School din. Ayun, sila Umano Joanna yung galing sa Santa Lucia High School. So, let's have our third graph. Sabi dito, we have the P of X is equal to the negative. Take note, great learners. We have negative times the quantity X plus 1 raised to second power times the quantity X minus 1 times the quantity X minus 2 raised to the second power. So using again our table, we will identify the leading coefficient, the degree, the end behavior of the graph to the left tail and the right tail. So obserbahan lang natin yung graph na nakikita natin. Kahit wag niyo munang bigyan ng pansin yung relationship between the leading coefficient and degree. Okay? So leading coefficient muna tayo. Since may negative tayo dun sa unahan ng ating given, most probably the leading coefficient will become negative and that is less than 0. And then, sa degree naman natin, kung mapapansin nyo, meron dyang mga exponent like 2 plus 2, that is already what? 5, tapos may isa dyan, yung walang exponent, automatically, that is 1. So therefore, we have 5 as exponent and that will give you the degree of odd number or the characteristic of the degree is odd. So, pansin naman natin yung drawing or yung graph natin mga great learners. Sa ating left tail, it rises, samantalang sa right tail natin, it falls. Ayan. So, sa lahat ng mga nakakuha ng tamang sagot, mathusay. Very good, no? Napakagaling kasi alam pa rin nilang mag-observe or alam pa rin nilang yung mga characteristics ng graph kahit nag-observe lang sila dun sa picture na nakikita nila sa kanilang mga monitor. Now, let's have example number 3. Tutor King.
And for example, number 4. Pang number 4 na to, sir.
Number 4 na ba? Okay.
Number 4 na tayo. Bilis-bilis natin, ha? Number 4 na pala. We have P of X is equal to the negative. Negative na naman siya. Times the quantity of X plus 3. Times the quantity of X plus 1. Times the quantity of X minus 2. Times the quantity of X minus 4. So, our leading coefficient, is it positive or is it negative?
Ayan.
Sa tingin na, ano kaya? So our leading coefficient in this particular polynomial function, it is negative, or a sub n, which is our leading coefficient, is less than 0. Then tingnan naman natin kung ano yung degree niya. Is it even or is it odd? Ayan, tama si Rainiel Manabat. Rainiel Manabat de Vera, lower than 0. Kaya, ayan. So, and our degree, it is even. Kasi nakikita nyo sa factored form, di ba? We have 1, yung exponent ng, ang tawag dito, ng binomial factor or binomial term. Tag-isa-isa lang sila. So, when we add them up, that is 4. So, 4 is an even number. And let us focus naman dito sa behavior ng graph. Tignan natin yung behavior ng graph. Doon sa left tail, kung napapansin ninyo, ano siya? It rises or it falls? Ayan, may sagot na agad si Rihan Edres, diba? False, false. So sa right naman, right tail, it is, or is it? Is it rises or is it false? Ano kayo yung sa end behavior ng right tail natin?
So, yun. So sa right tail natin, nag-false din or falling din, no? Ang ating right tail dahil nga, kung mapapansin sa mismong figure or sa graph natin, ay pares na sa pababa yung left at yung right tail ng ating given graph. Ayan. So ano nga ba ang kaugnayan ni leading coefficient at ni degree, Tutor King? Diyan papasok ang ating 4 cases of the leading coefficient test, which is, ano ba yung mga 4 cases, which are, case number 1, given the polynomial function in standard form wherein p of x is equal to a sub n x to the n power plus a sub n minus 1 x raised to the n minus 1 plus a sub n minus 2 x raised to the n minus 2 plus up to a sub 1 x plus a sub 0, there are 4 given cases. Case number 1. So, ang leading coefficient natin ay positive, ang degree ay odd, therefore, the end behavior ng ating graph sa left falls, sa right naman, it rises. So, tandaan natin yan ha. Sa case number 1 natin, kapag ang leading coefficient ay positive at ang degree natin ay odd, sa end behavior ng graph natin sa left tail ay falls, samantalang sa right tail, it rises. Now, let's have case number 2. Tutor King?
So in case number 2, bago natin umpisa yung case number 2, binabati natin si Cyrene Barcelena from Ramon National High School. Hello. So in case number 2, our leading coefficient is negative and our degree is odd. Therefore, tingnan niyo sa graph natin, yung behavior ng graph natin. Sa left tail, it rises, and sa right tail, it falls. So, sa case number 2, kapag ang leading coefficient ay negative and our degree is odd, sa left tail natin, aangat yan. It will rises. Sa right tail naman natin, pababa naman siya. It falls. Yun yung case number 2 natin.
Oh, yes. That is correct. Now, let's have our case number 3. So, kanina, yung pinakita natin example, actually, it falls under these given cases. So, hindi naman grade 10 learners na kailangan natin kabisaduhin to. But as much as possible, siguro, pwede nating maging familiar lang tayo sa mga ganitong cases para kahit paano, kung magkakaroon tayo ng chance na, for example, sa exam natin, kailangan natin mag-describe ng mga graph. So, pwede na nating tandaan agad yung okay, meron nga palang ganitong cases na tinuro wherein yung leading coefficient kapag ganito at yung degree kapag ganito, ito yung magiging end behavior. Ayan. So, our case number 3, kapag naman ang leading coefficient natin ay positive at ang degree ay even, the end behavior sa left side will rise at doon naman sa right tail ay rises din. So, pansin natin na positive even, rises ang ating given na end behavior. Ayan. So, dami nating mga kasama. Meron na tayong mga kasama from other school din. Eusebio High School. Ayan, maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga nag-share. Now, let's have case number 4, Tutor King.
Kung sa case number 3, di ba? Parehas na umangat. Sa case number 4, if the leading coefficient is negative at yung degree naman ay even, it falls. Parehas silang na-fall, di ba? Parehas silang...
Sana all na-fall, no? Di ba? Sana para sila na-fall at nag-meet sila sa gitna. Ayun. Siguro yung mga grade 10 learners natin, yung mga tuwan-tuwa naman yung mga grade 10 natin, ano yan mga in love sila sa mga ganitong setup Okay, now, let us proceed no sa ating steps in graphing polynomial functions. So, kung kanina, pinakita na natin yung ating mga different cases or different characteristics, how to describe the graph. Ngayon naman ay balikan lang natin kung paano ba tayo nag-graph. Basic steps in graphing, kahit hindi polynomial function, but yung iba rin mga quadratic equation, mga ganyan. But specifically, we are be dealing with polynomial function ngayon. Shout out daw muna, sabi ni Jeffrey Domingo, Ma'am Jaja Junicio, teacher doon sa Santa Lucia High School, Kalumpit, Bulacan. Teacher Jaja, marami pong salamat sa pag-share at sa pag-promote ng ETUlay. Yan. Now, these are the steps. Yes, Tutor King, what are the steps?
Step number 1, we will write the function in factored form. And then, number 2, we will determine the end behavior of the graph of a given polynomial. Yung kanina mga case na pinag-usapan natin.
That is correct. Now, after that, gagawin naman natin, so we need to find the zeros of polynomial function and their multiplicity. So there are 3 cases din sa multiplicity natin. Kapag ang factor ng polynomial function and a is a zero of multiplicity of k, the multiplicity refers to the exponent of the factors of the polynomial. So yun yung mga conditions or yung mga characteristics din ng ating tinatawag na multiplicity. And also, Tutor King,
Kapag yung multiplicity of the zero is even, or kapag yung exponent is even in factored form, then the graph touches the x-axis or tangent to the x-axis. Ibig sabihin, kapag ang multiplicity natin ng zero is even number, or yung exponent natin ng even, it will just touch. It will just touch the x-axis. But if the multiplicity of zero is odd, kapag odd naman siya, it will cross the x-axis. Dadaanan niya. So,
Tama,
kapag even,
that is correct.
sasagid lang. Kapag odd, dadaanan. It will cross.
Okay, so mamaya papakita natin yan kung paano nagiging yung multiplicity ay nai-apply sa graph ng polynomial function. Shoutout din kay Sir Lito ng Kuliat High School. Magandang hapon po, Sir Lito. Ayan, so now, for step number 4, we need to construct a table of values for x and p of x. Dahil nga function na pinag-usapan natin, we just simply have the values of x and p of x. Kung matatandaan niyo, great learners, dati nung nag-graph tayo, we just simply have the x and y. Kumbaga parang ngayon nagre-replace lang tayo dun sa y as p of x because that is what we call the function. But it's the same process. Then, we need to plot the points and draw a smooth, continuous curve to connect the points. Para mabuo natin yung graph, hindi pa pwedeng nag-plot lang tayo ng points at hindi natin nagko-connect, diba? So, kailangan magko-connect the dots tayo. Yun yung lagi sinasabi sa mga students ko before sa face-to-face na dapat connect the dots, guys, para mabuo natin yung graph. And lastly, make sure that the graph follows the end behavior as found in the above step at yung pinaliwanag natin kaninang mga cases na diniscuss namin ni Tutor King. Now, are we ready to graph? Siyempre, papakita ko muna kung paano tayo nag-graph ng polynomial function bago tayo bago tayo mag-math practice. So, ito muna ang ating polynomial function video.
For us to further understand how to graph a polynomial function, let us use this example by sketching the graph of the polynomial function p of x is equal to x times the quantity x minus 3 times the quantity x plus 1. For our solution, let us use the steps in graphing the polynomial function. Step number 1. Factor the polynomial function. The given function is already in factor form. Therefore, we just need to copy the function p of x is equal to x times the quantity x minus 3 times the quantity x plus 1. Step number 2. Write all the x intercepts. The x intercepts are negative 1, 0, and 3. Plot these values to create intervals. Step number 3. The degree is 3, which is odd, and the leading coefficient is positive 1. Thus, the graph falls on the left and rises on the right. Step number 4. Fill in the table of values for p of x by using x values in each interval. On this given, our x values are negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. For us to get the values for p of x, we just simply substitute the values of x to all the x's in the given function. For example, if x is equal to negative 2, we will have negative 2 times negative 2 minus 3 times negative 2 plus 1, which is equal to negative 10. If x is equal to negative 1, we will have negative 1 times the quantity negative 1 minus 3 times the quantity negative 1 plus 1 is equal to 0. If x is equal to 0, we will have 0 times 0 minus 3 times the quantity 0 plus 1, which is equal to 0. If x is equal to 1, we will have 1 times the quantity 1 minus 3 times the quantity 1 plus 1. The answer will be negative 4. If x is equal to 2, we will have 2 times the quantity 2 minus 3 times 2 plus 1. The answer is negative 6. We have 3 times the quantity 3 minus 3 times the quantity 3 plus 1. The answer is 0. Once we completed all the values for x and p of x, the next step to do is to plot all the points and connect the points with a smooth curve. Do you still remember how to plot the points? Very good. All you need to do is to draw a coordinate plane, an x-axis and a y-axis, and plot the ordered pairs. We will have ordered pairs of -2, -10, followed by point -1, 0, next 0.00, next 0.1, -4, next up is -6, and last we have 0.30. Do not forget to write the name of the points for us to determine easily what is that given point. After that, connect the points with a smooth curve. And lastly, write the given graph. On this given example, the name of the graph is P of x is equal to x times x minus 3 times x plus 1. There you go. This is our graph.
Ayun, saya po natandaan pa ng ating mga grade and learners kung paano nga ba mag-graph. But for now, continue natin ang ating discussion para sa ating math practice. So, Tutor King, let's have the math practice muna sa ating mga grade and learners.
Yes. Let's have the math practice. So yung math practice natin ay ganito lang yung gagawin natin. We will just describe the graph. Ayan. For example, number 1, describe the graph P of x is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus 3x. So step 1 natin, we will factor it out. So the factor of P of x is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus 3x. Kapag finactor out natin, kung napapansin niyo lahat sila is may x. Therefore, di ba? I-bring out natin yung x sa labas. Di ba? Parang yung pag-bring out lang ng x natin sa ating labas na buhay. Parang gano'n ang gagawin natin. Because they are x is a common monomial factor of the three terms. Kaya nilabas natin siya. And x squared minus 2x minus 3 is still factorable pa yan. So the factor is okay. So sir, mukhang naka-mute po yung mic po natin, Tutor Abhil. And the factor of x squared minus 2x minus 3 is x plus 1 times the quantity of x minus 3. Therefore, the factor of P of x is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus 3x, ay yung kanina, is x times the quantity of x plus 1 times the quantity of x minus 3. Now that we are done in factoring, kapag na-factor natin siya, we will describe na natin. Kaya natin ma-describe yan. Identify muna natin kung ano yung degree of polynomial. So yung the degree of polynomial ng P of x is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus 3x. Ano kayo yung highest degree ng polynomial na to? Tignan niya natin kung alam ng mga grade 10 learners natin kung ano yung degree ng polynomial na to. So before that, we will have, good afternoon po, Jean Mariel Flores, 10 Palma from SP Ventura Culiat High School. And hello po, and Althea Cabanilla, listening from Luis F. Gomez Diaminta National High School. Ayan, so meron na tayong yung graph na ay yung degree natin is 3. Kasi yung highest exponent natin 3. After we get kung ano yung degree, let us proceed naman kung ano ba yung next natin na gagawin. We will identify yung leading coefficient. So ang leading coefficient natin, P of x is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus 3x. Ano kaya ang leading coefficient nito? Ayan. So the leading coefficient is 1. Very good. Now that we are done in getting the degree of polynomial tsaka leading coefficient natin, tingnan ninyo. Yung degree natin is 3. Kaya add siya. And our leading coefficient is 1. It is greater than 0. Therefore, ang behavior ng graph na to or ng polynomial function na to ay ano siya? Using the leading coefficient test, P of x is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus 3x is falling at the left, na-fall sa left, and rising at the right. So, ganun lang tayo nagde-describe ng graph.
Ayan. So, kaya medyo nag-mute ako ng konti dahil nag-multitask tayo ng konti ngayon. Pero, ganun pa man, no? So, katulad ng pinaliwanag kayo ni Tutor King, using our leading coefficient test sa ating graph ay falling nga to the left at rising naman to the right. Dahil nga dun sa ating given na yung leading coefficient natin ay 3 at ang ating degree of polynomial ay ang leading coefficient, is 1 at ang ating degree of polynomial ay 3. Ayan. Now, let us proceed to our example number 2. Tutor King?
We will describe the graph P of x is equal to x plus 2 quantity squared, or x plus 1 quantity cubed, times x minus 1 quantity raised to the 4th power times x minus 2. So, ang gagawin natin dito, we will just describe the graph by, next. And we will describe the graph by completing this table. Dito na natin gagamitin yung kaninang pinag-usapan natin about sa multiplicity. Kung it will touches ba or it will crosses in the x-axis. So, i-complete natin yan. But before that, kailangan muna natin hanapin yung mga zeros ng this polynomial function. And to find the zeros of P of x, we will just set P of x is equal to 0 and solve for the values of x. We have number 1, x plus 2 quantity squared is equal to 0. Tapos x plus 1 quantity cube is equal to 0. X minus 1 quantity raised to the 4th power is equal to 0. And x minus 2 is equal to 0. Ang ginawa lang natin dito is inequate lang natin lahat ng mga factor into 0. Yung mga binomial term natin, inequate natin sila into 0. And then, after we equate them, we will now get the value of x. Kukunin natin yung value ulit ni x, or ng x pala. To find the zeros of P of x, set P of x is equal to 0 and solve for the values of x. So number 1, we have x plus 2 quantity squared is equal to 0. And the value of x is negative 2. And the multiplicity is 2 kasi naka-square siya. Diba? Kaya 2 ang multiplicity. Sa second one, we have x plus 1 raised to the 3 or cube. X plus 1 quantity cube is equal to 0. The value of x is negative 1 and the multiplicity is 3. 3 yung multiplicity natin kasi naka-cube tayo. Yung exponent is 3. Exponent ng binomial term is 3 kaya ang multiplicity ay 3. Sa x minus 1 raised to the 4th power is equal to 0. Ang value of x natin dyan ay 1 at ang multiplicity ay 4 kasi nga yung exponent natin ay 4. So sa last one, x minus 2 is equal to 0. The value of x is 2 and multiplicity is 1. Isa lang siya.
Ayun. So, kung mapapansin ninyo, ang value ng multiplicity natin ay nakadepende sa kung ano ang exponent ng ating given factor. So, very good ang pagkakadiscuss si Tutor King doon. Sana mga great learners nakuha natin kung paano makuha ang mga value ng multiplicity natin. So, ngayon, dahil nalaman na natin ang mga multiplicity na ito at yung mga zeros natin, we will now have to complete the given table na pinakita natin kanina. For us to complete the table, so, lalagay lang natin yung mga zeros na nakuha natin. We have negative 2. We have the multiplicity of 0 is 2. Characteristics of the multiplicity is even, dahil nga 2 yung given natin. And the behavior of the graph touches the x-axis at negative 2. Diba sabi natin kanina, kapag even yung characteristics ng multiplicity, ibig sabihin, it will touches the x-axis. Pero kapag add naman ang characteristics ng multiplicity, it will crosses the x-axis. Ayan. Sabi na Rainiel, yes po, nakuha daw, malinaw. Thank you, Rainiel. Now, let's have our zeros. We have negative 1. And that multiplicity of 0 naman ay 3. Ang characteristics ng multiplicity naman natin ay odd. At sa behavior, sabi ko nga kanina, it crosses the x-axis at negative 1. And we have another 0 is 1. Multiplicity of 0 is 4. And then that is even. That's why the behavior of the graph touches the x-axis at 1. And last 0, we have 2. Multiplicity of 0 is 1. And characteristics of this multiplicity is odd. So therefore, it crosses the x-axis at point 2. Ayan. Hello, Ma'am Rem Miranda Vidalio from Eusebio High School. Good afternoon po. So now, let us sum it up. Ayan, with Tutor Ruel and Tutor King and Tutor Abhil. Tutor King, let us sum it up.
Let's sum it up. So to sum it up, we will just complete the sentence by filling in the blank. So fill in the blanks tayo ngayon. And here are the steps in sketching the graph of a polynomial function. We will just fill in the blank. Number 1, we will write the polynomial function in blank form. Ano kaya itong blank na to? It is...
And number 2 din sabihin na natin, total na i-flash na natin, describe the end
sige.
behavior of the graph of the given polynomial function using the blank. And number 3, we need to find the blank of the polynomial and their multiplicity. So number 1, ang ating sagot ay standard form. You are correct, Rainier, Rainiel, Princess, Reynation. Ayan, tama ang inyong mga sagot. And for number 2, Tutor King, ano kaya ang sagot dito?
For number 2, we have describe the end behavior of the graph of the given polynomial function using the leading coefficient. And number 3?
Number 3, the answer is zeros. We need to find the zeros of polynomial and their multiplicity. Ayan. Now let us have number 4 and number 5. Construct a blank for x and p of x. And number 5, plot the points and draw a blank to connect the points. Ano kaya ang sagot natin? Ang gagaling ng ating mga grade 10 learners sa kausap ngayon, no? Talagang alam na nila agad yung sagot, Tutor King. Actually, natutuwa ako sa kanila kasi mukhang nanood sila ng ating ETUlay, DepEd TV, ETUlay sa DepEd TV. Ayan. Nung Monday, no? Yes. What is the answer, Tutor King, sa number 4?
For number 4, we'll construct a table of values for x and p of x. And in number 5, we will plot the points and draw a smooth, continuous curve to connect the points.
Yes, that is correct. So now, if you really do understand our topic for this afternoon, let's do the quick check challenge para malaman natin kung talaga bang kayo ay math tibay at certified math talino. Ayan. So, tingnan natin kung sino makakasagot. Sulat lamang yung mga answers sa ating comment section. For number 1, let us complete the table. So, isa lang kasi ang ating given quick check challenge, Tutor King. So, what is the given?
So, our given is p of x is equal to x times the quantity of x minus 2 times the quantity of x plus 1 times the quantity of x minus 3 squared. So, ano nga ba ang zeros? Or isa sa zeros dito.
Ayan, so i-reveal na natin dahil medyo yung oras natin ay extended na. So, ang mga zeros natin ay 0. Meron tayong 0 dahil meron tayong value ng x doon. And then the multiplicity of 0 is 1 because there's only one exponent. Characteristics is odd, therefore the behavior of the graph crosses the x-axis at point 0. Ano yung pangalawang 0 natin, Tutor King?
Ang pangalawang 0 natin ay 2. And the characteristics of this 0 is, or the multiplicity of 0 is 1. And the characteristics is odd. At kung odd siya, it crosses the x-axis at 2.
Very
so,
good. Yes, ang pangatlo natin, Tutor King. Tuloy mo na.
Yes, ang pangatlong 0 natin ay 3. Ay negative 1, I mean. Napunta sa pang-apat, negative 1. Negative 1 muna. Then, the multiplicity of negative 1 is 1. And since 1 ang kanyang multiplicity, the characteristics is also odd. And kapag odd, it crosses the x-axis. So, sa pang-apat naman, ano yung pang-apat, Tutor Abhil?
So, the 0 is 3, di ba? And then, multiplicity of 0 naman natin ay 2. Characteristics of multiplicity is, of course, even. And kapag even, it touches the x-axis at 0.3. Ayan. So, nakuha ba ng ating mga Math 10 learners? Yan, sila Rina, Sean, Rainiel, Lumiere, sila Precious, James, sila Meljoy, Sanilin, Yanika, maraming nakakuha ng ating sagot this afternoon. And, of course, para talaga namang malaman namin kung kayo ay natuto at kung gusto nyo maging Tuty or Mathlet of the Week by next week, Tutor King, kailangan nilang magsagot at sagotang tama na ang ating Math Challenge of the Week. Ano nga ba ang ating Math Challenge of the Week?
So our Math Challenge of the Week, ito siya. A box with no lid was created from a piece of cardboard 25 cm long, 15 cm wide. Equal squares are cut from each corner of the cardboard and the sides are folded up. So letter A, write the polynomial function in standard form to represent the volume of the box. Then, after that, we will graph the polynomial function.
Okay. So, of course, para naman po malaman namin kung tama ang inyong sagot, kailangan nyo lamang mag-post sa inyong mga timeline at o kaya naman mag-share din sa ating Facebook group na DepEd ETUlay at gamitin ang hashtag na ETUlay Math Challenge, ETUlay Tutor of Hill, our hashtag Tutor of Hill, hashtag Tutor Rowell, at hashtag Tutor King. Ayan. So, Tutor King, maraming salamat po. Abangan every Monday ang Mathematics 10 sa DepEd TV plus ETUlay dahil tuwing Lunes po ay mapapanood niyo na rin ng ETUlay ang lahat ng mathematics subjects sa DepEd TV. At tuwing Friday naman, kasama niyo pa rin po kaming tatlo ng inyong mga math coaches, si Tutor King, Tutor Rowell at ako po dito sa ating live streaming sa DepEd Educational Technology Unit, DepEd Tayo, DepEd Philippines YouTube channel, DepEd EdTech YouTube channel at DepEd TV YouTube channel. So muli po maraming salamat po sa lahat ng mga nakasama namin this afternoon. At ako po ang inyong Tutor of Hill mula sa SDO Bataan. So standby lang po kayo dahil susunod pa rin po ang mga tutors ng Senior High School and ALS. Tutor King.
Ayan, so ako nga pala si Tutor King from SDO Tarlac Province. At huwag kayong magsawang manood, magsubaybay sa ating EdTech Live. At manood na rin kayo sa ating TV.
Yan,
Tuwing
diba?
Monday.
No? So, ayun, so level up na talaga tayo, Tutor King. Kaya naman mga great learners, huwag mong kalimutan na mag-subscribe at mag-follow sa lahat ng mga DepEd Facebook pages at YouTube channel para naman siguradong updated ka sa lahat ng mga nangyayaring programa para sa inyo to kasi mga learners at kami lamang ay tagapagdaloy ng edukasyon para sa kabataang Pilipino. So muli, maraming salamat sa lahat po na nakasama naming great and see you again next week. Tutor King, maraming salamat. Paalam!
Ang husay naman! Natapos mo ang iyong tutorial session kasama ang iyong mahusay na ETUlay tutor. May bago ka bang natutuhan? I-share na yan gamit ang hashtag ETUlay Level Up. Huwag aalis ha dahil may susunod pang programa na pwede mo ring panoorin at salihan dahil naghihintay na ang iyong mga tutors. Happy learning dito sa ETUlay!